Hello, Dentist Money Show listeners. Welcome to a special episode. This is episode number 300. 300 episodes of the Mighty Dentist Money Show. We are so grateful that you've joined us. If it's your first time, if you've been here for all 300, shout out to Reese Harper, who was number 1 through, 200 and something, and the Hollywood Mountain, Matt Molcock, for stepping in after that for the last probably 100 episodes or so. And shout out to Dentist Advisors, no commission fiduciary, comprehensive financial advisor just for dentists all over the country, dentistadvisors.com. We're so grateful you've been with us. We're so thankful for all the questions and the feedback, and just for tuning in and downloading us and listening to us and taking screenshots of your radio or your phone and sending them to us and saying, hey, I'm listening to your crazy voice right now. And we love you for it. Thank you so much. We're very grateful for all the support over the years, and we hope to keep doing it for many years to come. If you have any questions for us, go to dentistadvisors.com, click the book free consultation link, schedule a chat with one of our friendly dental-specific advisors today. And today on the show, Matt and I are just going to talk about the top 5 all-time episodes and what they mean to us, what they mean to you as listeners. Thanks for being here. Thanks for tuning in. Enjoy the show.
Consult an advisor or conduct your own due diligence when making financial decisions. General principles discussed during this program do not constitute personal advice. This program is furnished by Dentist Advisors, a registered investment advisor. This is Dentist Money. Now, here's your host, Ryan Isaac.
Welcome to the Dentist Money Show, where we help dentists make smart financial decisions 300 glorious times, if I don't say so myself. I am Ryan Isaac, and I'm here with the Hollywood Mountain, Matt Molcock, for number 300. What's up, man?
Yo, Ryan, 300. This is amazing.
300. This is episode number 300 of the Dentist Money Show, and we have a cool show today. It's kind of like I think people used to do this on like old talk shows and stuff. Like, This Was Your Life. Wasn't that an old thing? This Was Your Life. What was that?
Yeah, like Mari Povich.
Was that Mari?
I have no idea.
Oh, was it?
But shout out to Mari Povich. If you know who Mari Povich is, that means you grew up in the 90s with us.
Know. I swear there was some that's like, oh, it's distant from my childhood. I can remember like, and this was your life. And then they like show people like, what was that? Oh my gosh, it's going to drive me
I have no idea, but you're going to find it, I'm sure.
Yeah. Producer Tad will know. He always knows the cool stuff that I'm like vaguely familiar with.
He's our resident historian.
He knows everything.
Right?
Tad.
But every time I think of 300, and I think you might make reference to this, but I just think of the movie 300.
So I was going to start with that. I really tried hard to find a story to tie into financial advice for dentists that had to do with the movie 300, but it was really tough just because they all died.
Yeah.
It didn't work.
They were slaughtered.
It didn't work. It was valiant.
They went down valiantly.
Dude, it was a brave effort, but they all died.
Yeah.
Wasn't good. So I tried.
Was not good.
And I more than just tried from the movie reference. I tried like historical, all kinds of, it didn't work. I couldn't.
We just wanted to do some type of reenactment where Ryan was yelling, "This is Sparta," and then you kick me down the stairs or something.
Kick me somewhere. That's awesome. Anyway, number 300. We do have a little special treat though. I'm not a technical wizard with this stuff, so this might be clunky, but I actually have a clip from Reese Harper. I'll just set it up here. So if anyone's joining us like kind of over the last few months, maybe last year, and all you know is the Dear Hollywood Mountain's sultry voice, then I'm sorry. Then I say I'm sorry to you. You might not know that the OG of the Dentist Money Show, of Dentist Advisors itself, Mr. Reese Harper, we call him Big Hoss, he and I started the Dentist Money Show in 2016, I believe. Reese talked about doing a podcast for years, and I'm just gonna
so ahead of his time.
I'm gonna just admit this. I thought it was kind of silly. I was like, for what? It was actually still at the time kind of big to do like financial radio shows, and so Reese's brain lives 10 years in the future. If anyone knows him, you just know how true that is. So anyway, he talked about it for years. We launched it in 2016, and I have to say, more than I could express. I'm just so grateful for everyone for tuning in and listening. We've made so many cool friends. So just this week, like random too. So I just moved. My youngest is in ortho. We got a referral from an ortho we loved. in Arizona. Can I name names? Shout out to Stuart Frost and team. My sister works there too.
Yeah, let's give him a shout out.
I think like he's known nationally, so it's not a small personality, but like we were like, oh man, incredible office, and we didn't, we were just like, oh, where are we gonna go? So we moved, we found another ortho team, and they're amazing here in Orange County. And what I was gonna say though is I was messaging them on Instagram because they posted a picture of my wife and daughter coming in for the first time, and they had like her name on a plaque and like so amazing. And then he messages me back, and he's like, he takes a screenshot of his radio driving into work, and he says, I'm listening to you right now.
No way.
My first thought is, man, we got to get you some more interesting commute entertainment. But
that's awesome, though. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, so it's just like so many cool friends, cool experiences, and just really, really grateful for all the people that have tuned in and listened and continue to listen. Anyway, so let's go. I was just gonna say Barkate Orthodontics. I think that's what it's called. My new ortho. I just wanted to say what's up.
Shout out
because Dr. Barkate and I think it's Nehi. So my wife met him, said they're amazing. Anyway, I don't know if I'm supposed to do this.
Go check him out.
I don't know if I'm supposed to do this because there's a lot of cool people. That's just where I went. So
yeah,
and he was listening to the show. It was cool. Anyway, I digress. Reese Harper. We started this 2016. Didn't think you would get to this point. Thank you for being along with us on this journey. I have a clip from Reese. I said, hey, episode 300, man, can you just like record a little clip and tell everyone what's up? So we'll pause here. We're going to roll the clip, and then we'll be right back.
Excited for the 300th episode of the Dennis Money Show. This is one of my favorite things I ever did, was record all these great episodes with Ryan and have a few with Matt as well. I felt like this is a really good moment to celebrate, and thankful for all of you listeners who've been supporting us over the years. Without you, we couldn't do what we love. So thanks so much for tuning in each week and being a part of this. It's been awesome, and I look forward to the next 100.
Shout out to Reese Harper.
It's good, dude. Reese is just
you just
such
love
a good
hearing
dude.
his voice, man. Just so many good stories. Okay, episode 300. Here's what we did for you today. We couldn't quite draw a parallel with the movie 300. Sorry, I really tried.
We tried.
It wasn't good. What we did instead is we posted, we scanned all the data, the historical archives for the top episodes, the top downloaded episodes. The only caveat here is, of course, top downloads, they kind of accumulate over time. So the top ones are going to be older episodes, and the ones over, say, the last 12 months, they're still gaining some traction. So we've got some honorable mentions in those. But I'm going to go through these. There were the top episodes. We boiled them down to the top 27. We're not going through all those, but I took the top.
Buckle up, everyone. We're doing 27.
20 episodes as fast as we can.
We found our 300 highlights. We're going to hit one by one.
Yeah, 2-hour episode today. So I wanted to just kind of read some data back from these because it was really interesting to see what people were most interested in. I'm just going to read you the top 5 episodes with the episode numbers, and you can find these. If you go to DennisAdvisors.com, you can just type in the episode number. It'll pull right up. Or any platform you listen to this stuff on, just scroll down and find the episode number. So, Matt, actually, before I do this, Matt, any guesses as to... did you see the data, though?
I'd be cheating. I'd be cheating.
You saw the data. Okay, you saw the top categories that people were most interested in. But
yep.
What would you have said if I said, hey, what do you think the most downloaded categories are that dentists want to hear about? What would you have said?
I mean, my guess would have been anything to do with investing, anything to do with real estate specifically. I would have guessed real estate was number one.
Number one?
To be honest.
That's what you would have said? Yeah.
Anything to do with real estate, yep.
Yeah, I think looking back, I probably would have said, I would have said real estate. I honestly thought, this is giving it away a little bit. I would have said that anything specifically around like investments and investing, would have been kind of the thing. But anyway, well, let's roll these out. I'm going to go number 5 through
You going
1.
top down? Or,
No,
5 up.
up.
You're going 5 up.
Is that how you do it when you got a list? You got to go bottom up?
I think you do that. I think that's what you're supposed to do, yeah, bottom up.
Top episode number 5. Caveat here is, again, from the last 12 months, they're not going to rank just because they haven't been around as long, okay? But top downloaded episodes, number 5, episode number 202, tax saving strategies for the new tax code. So
that makes sense.
Yeah, taxes
are
now would you would have thought taxes, right? Just because it's like, I don't know if I've ever met anyone who was ever satisfied with the answer like, hey, I think you're doing all you can do on tax savings.
Oh, no. That is like faux pas. Can't say that.
No,
there's always more.
There's always some like big hidden thing that no one knows about yet we got to find, which I totally understand. Episode 202, this was actually an interview Reese did with Morgan Hammond, CPA from HDA Accounting Group. Morgan's been a guest of the show and webinars multiple times, good friend of ours. What I've loved about some of the content, maybe you can just pitch in here for your thoughts on some taxes. What I've loved, actually one of my favorite things that Morgan has done with us about taxes, if you guys want to check this out, there's a webinar. Go to dentistadvisors.com under the webinar series, and I think it was like December of, maybe it was 19?
I think it was.
Holy cow.
Which is kind of crazy.
It was the end of 19.
You could probably just search Morgan Hammond's name.
Morgan Hammond, it's a webinar. It was probably 2019. Because it was the end of the year. But we talked about like the most common, like regular tax deductions that dentists are able to take from a CPA standpoint. Like what can you really do year over year proactively? So here's what I want to say. And I thought that was great content because we dispelled a lot of myths in that webinar. And here's what I want to say. And I'm not, this isn't mocking anybody, okay? When people freak out about taxes, especially when they start achieving that level of success and income, they're finally like, they've been driving for, and then they get the tax bill, it's the most natural, angering thing in the world to just be like upset that so much has to go to taxes, you know? Like you're not left with the amount of money. But here's what I want to say, and we've said this so many times before, but I just want to reiterate this because I hear this on a monthly basis. I'm sure you do too. There are proactive things you as a dentist, as an owner of a business, can do proactively. Like you can purposefully do this year over year continually to lower your tax rate. One of the biggest ones you'll ever be able to do is the retirement plan in your office. That could be a simple IRA, it could be a 401k, it could be a profit sharing plan or a huge pension plan. We just barely did an episode on this on the Dentist Money Show on retirement plans, so check it out. It's like $297 or $298. Outside of that, and here's what I'm going to say, controversially, that is probably the biggest hot take. It's probably the retirement plan in your office is probably the biggest ongoing proactive thing that you can purposely do to reduce your taxes as a dentist owner. Underneath that, you have a lot of little things that Morgan laid out in a lot of his content that an accountant can do with you. Certain types of write-offs, certain kinds of expenses and deductions your business can meaningfully take that some aren't doing. I mean, there's a lot of offices that aren't doing these things. So check out that webinar with Morgan. But after that, there's not some hidden secret that only a CPA who wrote a book who's selling out some kind of conference in a hotel ballroom is only going to be able to tell you. And here's even more hot take-ish, all right? Aside from these things, and aside from buying something every once in a while, so there are random huge deductions you'll take as an owner when you buy something. You buy a building, you remodel your office, you buy equipment, you can take a 179 deduction. There's some of those things, and there are a few, or like a cost segregation study on a building. It's not something you're doing every year. That's why I say it's not proactive year over year, something you can proactively do. But these are kind of like these one-off events. Those are big, and they're meaningful, and you should take advantage of them when they make sense with your advisory team, your CPA team, buying stuff, and writing them off. That's basically something you can do every once in a while. Outside of those exists the world of bad investments for the sake
bad products,
expensive investments that are not, you wouldn't even want them unless they came with this totally sexy tax deduction along with them. And I just want to say that so because every month we're having conversations, and I know why people are asking about this. So I'm not like mocking this, but there are proactive things you can do. There's a bunch of little stuff you can do with your CPA. There's a bunch of one-off, one-time kind of random things when you buy big stuff in the practice. But outside of that are this big world of mostly crappy investments that have a tax deduction that come along with it. And please just really deeply, deeply consider all of the factors in the big picture before you take the tax deduction at the expense of a really bad investment that you should not own and does not fit in your portfolio. I will end there. Matt, what do you want to say about this?
I mean, that was beautifully said. And I totally agree. I think all humans that make any level of income hate taxes at any level. So we get it, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I have clients all across the income spectrum. For the most part, the dental income spectrum.
Yeah.
So there's a floor there.
Yeah.
But I have clients that are, in the very strongly in the mid to high six figures. I have clients that are making seven figures.
Yep.
And all across the board, everyone hates taxes. So we totally get it. And like you said, we should be trying to do everything we possibly can to avoid as much taxes as much as possible.
Yes.
And again, I use the word avoid very strategically, not evade. There's a huge difference between tax avoidance and tax
legally
evasion.
avoid. Yes.
Yes, legally avoid. And Morgan Hammond has talked about this in pretty much every episode or any joint show we've ever done with him. He talks about that. You should be avoiding taxes as much as possible legally, not tax evasion. So, but because of this, everyone knows this, that everyone hates taxes. Everyone's trying to avoid taxes. And the more income you make, I think the more you're trying to avoid them. So it's very easily sold. It's a very easily sold tactic to say, oh, we're going to do this to help you avoid taxes or help you whatever. So just be careful, to your point. Don't let the tax tail wag the investment dog or the wealth creation dog. Sometimes we get distracted. Humans get distracted by what they think is the easy route when they should be focused more on the simple and obvious route. And those two things are not the same.
Yeah, and I'm just glad you bring that up. And one last thing I'll say, I just, as you do too, Matt, all of our advisors have ongoing, constant conversations with business owners. I was just in a conversation this week with a friend, not a client, in the dental industry, business owner, very successful business, lots of revenue, very high income. And I just feel bad because there's this constant pressure to feel like there's more you can do with tax strategy. And that's the phrase that gets thrown around, is tax strategy. And what I witness is that there's this chasing that never ends of trying to find the next CPA that somehow knows the strategy, or the next someone you can bring in your business to tell you the hidden things you didn't know about previously. And it makes me feel bad because I'm like, man, there's just better uses of your time. And I hate saying just you've done all you can, pay the taxes, move on, enjoy life, enjoy the business, keep growing. Yeah. But that's sometimes the answer. Number 4 is episode 206, 5 musts before buying a dental practice. Again, this was another interview. And we also noticed this, that people just like hearing from other people in the industry besides us more than us.
Yep.
The interviews rank
people
really
like
high.
Other people more than they like us.
That is fair. That is totally fair. There's a lot of great people to interview. This is with another CFP who's actually in the buyer side of dental practice transitions.
Our guy B. Hanks?
Yeah, what do you want to say about B. Hanks?
B. Hanks is awesome. Brian Hanks, if you don't know him, check him out. Yeah, he specializes in helping dentists buy a practice. That's his main thing. He's in the niche within a niche.
Yep.
So just he's a buyer. I don't know what he calls himself. A buyer's consultant, buyer rep.
Yes, we're probably butchering it, Brian. If you listen to this, I'm really sorry. I was gonna say that Brian has a book out. He sent it to me, and it's sitting. Well, I moved, so actually I don't know where
He's got 2 volumes. They're great.
Yeah, go check him out. Brian Hanks. You can find him everywhere, and he's got a book out. It's a really easy read. He mailed it to me right before I moved, and then everything's lost. I can't even find my gym shoes. Actually, I've been going to the gym in my Vans boat shoes slip-ons.
Nice.
I look like best. I'm such a dad, dude. Just
You're that
rolling
guy.
up. So that guy. Anyway, Brian Hanks. 5 things before buying a practice. And we know there's a lot of listeners that are in that phase of career, and what a huge decision. What a gigantic decision. So that was episode number 206. Check that out. The next one, number 95. Oh, this is going back. Number 95, we have, this is why dentists spend too much money.
Oh, baby. We've done a bunch on those since then.
Yeah, that was clickbait. We delivered. I know we delivered on that episode, but this is another old one. I actually remember this one because we were in this phase for a little while. Shout out to an old producer named Jeff, where Jeff would help us stage funny pictures for the cover photo of of the podcast. Do you remember this? And we were recording them for YouTube as well, which we probably should get back to doing.
We need
but
to, yeah.
Reese and I, somehow, I don't even know where we got these. Well, I mean, I know where they came from, but like how they ended up here. We have 2 giant tubs of buttery popcorn, and we're both holding an icy slushy in our hands. This is like 7 a.m. in our studio, and I'm tossing a popcorn to Reese's head. Like that's what I'm doing in.
I got to go check out this picture.
Just look at it for the picture. This is why dentists spend too much money. What number was this? This was number 3. Number 95.
Oh yeah, number 3
downloaded.
episode 95. Yeah.
Yeah. So Matt, what do you want to say real quick about dentists and their spending and anything that like we have multiple episodes on this, so there's like nothing quick about it. But what have you learned over the years about dentists and their spending?
Oh man, it's kind of what I was saying earlier. Kind of one of my overarching takeaways in doing this for as long as we have is what I was saying earlier of like people are always looking for the easy thing and not the obvious and simple thing. And this, to me, I think that kind of defines spending. So meaning people are looking for the easy thing as in like a tax saving strategy or an investment product that's going to like hit a home run. Like, those are the easy. It's kind of like they're looking for the proverbial supplement, right? Like we always make this analogy to health and fitness. People are looking for that supplement that's going to like change their life, when really it's just like, hey, eat better and work out.
Yeah. For a long time, and,
right?
And do it without seeing any results for like months and months and months on end.
Yeah, exactly. It's like doing that for a long time is what's really going to lead to success. Time is the secret there.
Yep.
But so to me, I guess I say all that to say that spending is kind of like the green it's like the vegetables of financial planning. It's
so
like,
true.
Hey, we got to track your spending and look at but it truly is probably the most important thing that you can keep an eye on and actually keep under control. When we talk about retirement readiness, it really is the number one factor that we're thinking about and that you should be thinking about. The other thing we always joke about with spending is, people come to us not for their own spending, but to blame their spouse. And we joke about that a lot, but sometimes it really is the doctor that is the problem, and they just want to try to blame their spouse or someone else. So yeah, spending is a big one. This is something that, again, like taxes, people don't want to focus on what really matters all the time. And I get it. I totally understand why, but it's probably the most important topic, or I should say top 3 topics we talk about.
Yeah, Matt, I'm going to ask you a question. Have you learned anything about your own spending just as you've grown in your career, your family's grown, you bought a house years back? Any lessons you've learned on your own spending that are like you're seeing reflected in your client experience?
Yeah, man, totally. So a couple of things. I would say that in my own life and what I'm trying to like impart on my clients as well, and this kind of this is why this job is so great for many reasons, but it always comes full circle to our own life, right? But when it comes to spending, a couple of things. Number one, communication with your spouse is probably the most important factor here. And there doesn't have to be any, I'm not even talking about some structure of communication or even some cadence of communication. I'm just saying you've got to talk to your spouse and be on the same page on a regular basis when it comes to spending. That is like number one.
Which is like a whole episode we still need to do. We've been talking about for months is how to get a spouse or a partner on the same page, like talking about your planning and your spending and your investing and your financial goals in general. Tough.
And I've realized when it comes to that, it's really hard. Like it's hard. It's hard for my clients. I bring this up to my clients all the time. So for example, I'll give like one of my clients a homework assignment. I'll be like, hey, for this month, you guys have to have at least one 10-minute conversation. This is just an example. Over the next month, we're going to meet again. And a lot of times they don't do it, and I'll ask them why. And it simply just comes down to like, it's just really hard. Yeah. Money is such a hot topic issue, in particular spending. It's so emotional. And I admit my wife and she hates it. I bring it up all the time because this is what I do. And sometimes I will admit it gets emotionally charged. It's a very emotional thing. So number one, communication. Number two, I think people, when we talk about spending, the one thing I've really realized when it comes to spending is it's not about budgeting. It's not about looking at like individual categories. What it really comes down to is really, again, communicating with your spouse, figuring out what truly brings joy, like what spending actually brings joy to your life. And then cut out the rest. Like focus on those. This is a shout out to Ramit Sethi. He wrote a book called I'll Teach You to Be Rich. He's a really big personality in the financial industry. Fantastic. But he talks about this. Focus on the things that actually bring you joy. Don't cut those things out. It's about cutting out the mindless things. The things that at the end of the month you look back and you're like why did we even do that? I don't even remember. It's the things that you can cut out, and everyone has this. Yep. The things that you can cut out and it would not impact your life even a little bit. It's the mindless spending. Spending is such the brute focus. It just takes like the blunt end of all of the attacks on our finances, because it just feels like the most obvious thing we have control over. And the truth is that most of us are just our lifestyles are just gonna grow as our families get older. As we earn more money, we will spend more money. All of us do it. And we should, and we probably should to some point. Yeah. I mean, that's the whole, burnout or balance over burnout. You're always saying, because I mean, why else? Maybe this is a hot take, but I don't think I'm doing this just so that I can live well and chase my favorite hobbies and dreams when I'm 70. Nope. No way. Or at this point, 75 when I actually stop working. Yeah, 80, 85. Yeah, somewhere in that range. Yeah, but it has to mean something for today. It has to, because we don't know what the future holds, and we don't know if we'll have the health to enjoy our wealth later in the future. And I mean, I don't know, man. I've just learned a lot about that too. But it is a balance, because you can get over your head really quickly. Yep. You can get over your eyeballs in debt, monthly payments, and spending. And what we do know statistically and anecdotally from working with people in our own lives, once you start, I mean, we're just used to spending levels, and they are not easy to take back. It is not easy to just you're not shoving that toothpaste back in the you're tube. Not. And I'm not talking about a little Netflix here and there, or a few $100 here and there, like a slightly cheaper car that went from an $800 payment to a $400 payment, or $500 or $600. We're talking cutting thousands out of your budget. It just gets it's baked in. Hey, Ryan, tell me, what happens during a consultation? It's a great question, Matt. The first thing we like to do is just get to know more about you and your practice. What are your career goals? What are you doing in your practice, in your business? What kind of big decisions are you making in your personal financial life? Then we talk about how hiring a comprehensive, fiduciary, dental-specific financial advisor can help you make better financial decisions in your future, help you grow your net worth, get more organized, and get more peace of mind around your financial situation. I mean, so you're telling me it's that easy and painless? I am telling you it is that easy and totally painless. Exactly, Matt. Just go to dentistadvisors.com, click the book free consultation button. Do it right now and talk to a friendly advisor today. Number 2, episode 188, was an interview I did with the Weston Lunsford of Dental Intelligence. Dental Intel. Good old Dental Intel. DI, as we all know and love them. Man, everyone knows Dental Intel. And this is... fellow Utah company. Yes. Yeah. If there is a tech company in the dental space, they're in Utah. 95% there is chance. Yeah, for sure. Honestly, they're all out of Utah. Tech company in dental space, they're in Utah. So Weston was on the show. I remember doing this, actually, and FaceTiming or Zooming with him, and it was really cool. I hadn't seen him in a while. We met Weston, Reese and I did, when Weston was part of a CPA firm. I think they were Weston Peck, or there was something. They were a CPA firm in Utah. That's how they got to know dentists so well. They did some consulting, and then they just had the idea and they built Dental Intel. But we knew them before that, so it was cool to catch up with him. This episode is called How Practice Analytics Are Changing the Game. So this just goes hand in hand with what I was just barely saying. One of the best ways to combat a growing spending number is just to earn more money. Yeah, and keep spending the same. Don't let your spending come up the same
hit a
pace.
Limit at some point, find your stride at some point and just cruise there for a little bit. Put it on cruise control. But I mean, I don't think there's anything more important to invest in. I was just on a long conversation with a client yesterday, talking about all the different places you can invest money as a dentist, especially, and there's a temptation with some dentists that start making a lot of money and having quite a bit left over every month to just look at the world and be like, man, I feel like there's thousands of places I can invest money. You just feel like you're really excited, and you're like,
oh yeah,
where should I invest money? And like, what should we be doing? And you can get in this trap of constantly, it's kind of like the tax thing, constantly chasing like, well, what else is there and what's better and what's bigger and, what's faster. I just don't think that there is anything worth your money or your time until it is fully maximized, like your dental practice, because it's the thing, your background is in it, your education is in it, you spend all week in it, you have full control over it, it. And it's funny because I was talking to this client yesterday, and this is a really common sentiment. He made a comment about how easy it was. And this is a person doing multiple millions out of 2 locations in a specialty. And
there's people out there right now just seething with anger that you just said.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, he's got a lot of people on his team, a huge budget, a giant operation. And he was like, yeah, it was just so easy. And I'm like, we stopped there and I said, hey, just realize that what you're doing is not actually easy. You're just used to the pain.
Yep.
And you've honed your skill set for so long that you just show up every Monday morning and you open up shop and you just go through the motions. It feels easy, but really you're running a private business that could collapse at any moment with tons of team, and people are the hardest thing to ever deal with. And you have like 100 different things to deal with besides being a clinician. And this is multiple millions revenue business. Like there's nothing easy or nothing low risk about it, other than the fact that you're used to the pain. So
yeah.
it's like, do you ever have any runner friends, Matt, who like, they'll go run like 50 miles and they'll be like, yeah, I just did like an easy 27 miler this morning. And you're like,
yeah.
What?
Yeah, that was just, I just ran a marathon on a Monday morning.
Like,
it's no big
just
deal.
Just for a little practice, and you're like, I
don't understand those psychos.
You're just used to the pain. That's all. There's nothing easy about it. So you were going to say something, I cut you off.
Well, no, I was going to ask how far in is he? Like several years in?
Yeah, a few years. Not that long. Not that long. And so just to wrap this up, I just thought the point I was trying to make was investing in your dental practice, which is what Weston and I talked about, and some of the tools out there to help you do that. I just don't think there's a better place. There's nothing worth chasing until that thing is absolutely maximized. And don't forget how big of a piece of your balance sheet it really is. Don't take for granted that you already invest very heavily into a private business with high risk and high return. You already do as an owner. Don't take that for granted and think, I'm bored. I'm easy. It's easy. I've already figured this out. What else is there? What can I chase? What's harder? What's more complex? Like there's nothing better for you to put your resources into than your own.
And I think that happens all the time. That's such a good point because it happens all the time. It's like you got to recenter your mind, and we do this all the time when people. You got to recenter your focus and your mindset as to what that business actually is. You are investing in like you said, a private business. You are concentrated in a private business that is going to be, in our opinion, in our experience over the course of your 20, 30-year career, it is by far going to be the greatest ROI, return on your investment.
Name a better investment that you have more control over, more transparency, and more expertise in, that your money is more worthwhile. Besides, like, and when we say that, I just mean now along the way, dump your money into other investments that don't require the same amount of like involvement and time and expertise that you can outsource to other people. People outsource to us to manage their investment portfolios, and we build low cost, diversified portfolios and good savings rates, and we hold them for decades. Like we can be in charge of that while you run the hard thing. You can build a real estate portfolio while, and a little bit more involved maybe, but I mean, the practice, we probably said it enough. The practice is just, it needs all your time and attention and resources, no question.
Well, and last thing I'll say, just really quick, right on that point, it's such a good point of like finding that balance of being diversified in a globally diversified portfolio while being really concentrated in your business and your skill set. This reminds me of a quote. I'm going to paraphrase it, but basically, the key to investing is being diversified enough to not blow up, but being concentrated enough to matter.
Yeah, geez.
And I think that was from James Clear, I think. But the whole point of that is finding this balance between, there's this kind of idea out there, a certain faction of people out there in the financial industry that talk about diversification being overrated. And the real way to build wealth is being concentrated. So like Mark Cuban, multi-billionaire, is one that has been very, very loud on this.
Yeah.
Like, diversification is for losers kind of thing,
Okay.
which is ridiculous. But to his point, what he is saying is to truly build true wealth, you have to be concentrated. And he did it through businesses, obviously. So I think dentists forget that point, forget that idea that they are concentrated
already.
They do have that wealth building power that the average person doesn't have. Heavily, and in a very, in a space that the average person just can't jump in.
You just don't. You don't.
So finding that balance of being diversified enough to not blow up like in the financial markets, but concentrated enough to matter, which is in your business, is the key to a dentist success.
That's cool. I love that. Number 1, episode 181, called "How to Solve Your Student Debt Dilemma," which I know why that was number 1.
Oh yeah.
Surprising though, that was with Travis Hornsby, Reese Harper, Travis Hornsby at the Student Loan Planner. Travis is a really smart guy, and
shout out to Travis. He does good work. He really does.
He's really smart. Walk through his business and the things that they're seeing and the trends in the industry on, how to be strategic about student loan debt and what to do. And it maybe is the most frequently asked question we get from a new dentist is, what do I do with my student loans? Should I pay them off? That is like,
and it's interesting. They've kind of fallen, those questions have fallen off this year or since COVID hit, because the government put a freeze on, the student loan. So they've actually fallen off, but starting this month, they've delayed it. So January of 2022, they're going to pick back up again. So it is interesting that like a lot of those questions, I think people have kind of just been like, whatever, I'm not going to worry about it right now.
Yeah, I haven't really heard should I pay off my student loan in quite a while, because no one's paying them.
Yep, exactly. But I would say be careful, because you need to be factoring, like you were just saying earlier with the spending. The fear that I have here is that that payment has gone away, or people aren't thinking about it, and their lifestyle has readjusted and they've adapted to that. All of a sudden, it's going to be a nice kick in the face or an old punch in the gut, one of the two.
Or both. Maybe it's a punch and a kick
both.
from an MMA
Maybe you're going to
expert.
get punched in the gut. Exactly.
Conor
You're going to
McGregor's
get punched in the gut.
Yep.
You're gonna bend over, and then you're going to get kicked in the face by this new payment.
Yes. I'm glad. Thank you for finishing that analogy that way. Those were the top 5. Here's some stats to think about. This is what was surprising to me. I asked you in the beginning, the number 1 category, and so this was from all the 27 top episodes of all time. The number 1 category, this was 40% of these top episodes, top 27. 40% of them were related to the practice. So. It shows me that
makes sense.
It makes sense, and it should be. Honestly, it should be. We've gone over this enough today. But
I actually like hearing that. That's actually really good.
Yeah, 40%, almost 41% were topics related to the practice in some way. And again, that's 40% of your attention should probably be in the practice. So that's probably like right on scale. Number 2 came in at 23%. Around general planning. I categorize it as like just general like wealth building, financial advice, organization, which is cool. So between the practice and getting just advice on building your wealth and staying organized and getting good advice, that's 2/3 of listener attention. Like most popular episodes, 2/3.
Yeah.
So which I think is totally appropriate, because when your practice is healthy and you've got a good plan, you're well organized, you have good advice, like that's got to be 2/3 of your whole life, because everything else is kind of just logistics after that.
It's like details after that.
It is details after that. And then there was a bunch of ties for real estate, investing, spending. Funny enough, in taxes, debt was the smallest category in these top 27
I know.
episodes.
I was shocked when you posted that.
4%.
I was very surprised.
It's really weird. Anyway, this was cool to go through. I think we need to do, here's what we need to do. Marketing, I'm sorry if this caused an issue. Go to the dentist.
They'll just cut it if it is.
Just cut it if it is.
This is why they won't let us go live very often, because
we make promises that
we just throw crap out.
We make promises to deliver T-shirts at a rate that our company can't deliver, because we're not a T-shirt company.
But we want to be, so we're going to keep pushing that.
Go to the Dentist Advisors discussion group. I have no way to prove this. You could lie, but just don't lie. Go to the Dentist Advisors discussion group on Facebook and tell us if you have listened to all 300 episodes from 1 to 300. There's going to be more than one person doing this. So I guess if there is only one, you win.
You get multiple T-shirts for the whole family.
But if there's multiple people, we are going to. I'll just put you in like a little raffle, and we'll send you some a little swag package. If you've listened 1 to 300, okay, I want you to tell us. Go to Dennis Advisors discussion group on Facebook. Just tell us you've listened to all the episodes that have ever been out, and tell us a memorable one, whether it's an actual topic, an episode, a story, a joke, a cringe moment, something you disagreed with heavily. Something you hate us for. I don't care. Just tell us that you've listened.
Something you hate us for.
Just go there. Tell us if you've listened to all the episodes so far, and then tell us something you remember, and we'll send you some swag.
Okay, here's the deal. I'm gonna up the ante.
Crap.
Here.
Okay.
I'm gonna up the ante, and our marketing team's gonna be so mad at me for this. And again, they might cut this whole thing.
What are we doing?
Go on there. You got to say you've listened to all 300 episodes, and you got to give us highlights, lowlights, whatever. What you just said. You will be put into a raffle.
Okay.
To win not just DA swag, you're going to win new AirPod, the AirPod Pros.
The AirPod Pro raffle prize. Okay, so
AirPod
DA swag
Pros.
and AirPod Pros. Again, if you're listening to this like 4 years in the future, this probably isn't going on anymore.
Don't do this, yeah.
But if you're listening to this as it comes out in 2021.
And again, be honest. You have to have had to. You've had to listen to all 300.
I like it. Okay, if you listen, Dennis Advisors discussion group, and get some swag and enter to win some AirPod Pros. Solid. While you're there, if you have any suggestions for us on what you'd like to hear on the show, we love that, especially if it's a super detailed question. It doesn't have to be a big high-level topic, like a really specific question. If it's personal and you want to be totally anonymous, we'll keep it that way for sure. Even if you post publicly in that group, we'll reference it anonymously. But just shoot us a message privately. Email me, Ryan, at DennisAdvisors.com, or DM me somewhere on any social, and tell us the specific question you want us to cover on the show. We'll totally do it. We love delivering the stuff that's on your minds. So,
and if you post a question, you might also get some swag sent to you.
Also
that's not even raffle style. That's just you post a question, we'll send you some stuff.
You guys, thanks for being here. Episode 300. I'm super grateful. I'm grateful Matt's here. I'm grateful for Reese and the time he spent just saying his name.
This has been so great.
Smile on my face. Thanks for joining us and listening. If you have any questions you just want to directly chat with us, go to DennisAdvisors.com, click on the book free consultation link, and we'd love to have a chat with you. Thanks again, everyone. We'll catch you next time. Take care.